All right, well, welcome everybody, and we're going to get started with our training here. Just need to open up the screen, and I'm going to just put myself over here, and we'll get going. So the training is don't leave money on the table. So we're going to start by, the overview of this talk is basically, goes like this. Oh, let's start here. There are some people who look at the marketing plan, and I've even heard from people that when they get their PVC reports, they just delete them. They don't want to look at them. They're scared to look at them, or they have all kinds of reactions about it, and their head starts spinning. And I want to really tell you that you don't have to be a huge geek, but you need to understand, if you're going to do this business, how to maximize the money that can come to you at every position. So it just requires a little bit of thinking. So we're going to go through this very, step by step, basically. So the overview is we're going to talk about infinity width and 5 generations of depth, the percentage that goes to the field for every dollar that the company brings in. We're going to talk about generations versus levels. We're going to talk about the 5 ways we get paid. And then something very interesting, my version of Don Rathman's training on 645 and the PVC report and the 12-month report. And so let's start with infinity width. So a lot of people, this isn't as important today as it was like when we first came into the business. A lot of people would ask us these questions, and you might get this question about marketing plan. Like, what kind of a marketing plan do you have? And technically, we have a stair-step marketing plan. There's also other marketing plans out there. Another popular one is binary. And the thing about binary is a perfect example. You can only recruit two people wide. And then the next 2 people come in, go under them. And they say, well, we're infinitely deep, so therefore you make more money. But that I don't, not that we want to argue about that. What I do know about our marketing plan is that I can give myself a raise anytime because nobody's stopping me from recruiting another leg. And that, I think, is a really important point to make, is that you're not dependent on this stacking of people and whether that's going to work out for you or not. So infinity width is really important that way. I'm going to talk a little bit later about 5 generations depths. I'm going to hold that for the generations versus levels talk. So you might, if you hear infinity depth, you might go, well, we only get paid 5 deep. How good is that? I'll show you why that's good. Then the next step I want to talk about is, this is where, when I was really trying to understand, because people would ask me all these questions about marketing plan. I was like, I don't know. I just like Juice Plus. So it took me a while to come to this, but I forget exactly how I acquired this information, but and don't quote me on it because I don't know what the numbers are today, but I assume they're no better than they were, 23 years ago. But for every dollar that comes into a company, the question is how much of it goes back out to the field. So the Juice Plus company is selling, we're selling products, Juice Plus company is collecting the money for us, right? And then they pay us a certain percentage. So what is that percentage on that dollar? How many cents are going back out to the field? And so let's say if it's 1 cent, $1, and like Amway, I heard, was 7 cents on the dollar. So whatever their marketing plan is, they're playing with 7 cents for every dollar Amway brings in. So don't quote me on whether Amway is still 7 cents on the dollar, but they were 23 years ago. Some of the older companies that have been around, like Herbalife, they're more like 30-something cents on the dollar. Our company has consistently been, like 45 cents on the dollar at least. You might even argue closer to 50 if you look at the money that they throw back out to support things like corporate speakers and boot camps and other speakers, so other expenses that they take on for us. So that's a lot to play with. A lot of the startup companies try to do like 60 or 70 cents on the dollar. So sometimes, you know, if you went to like a GoPro event, people jump from company to company because they come into the company while they're at that 60, 70 cents on the dollar, but then the company can't sustain itself because that's too much on the dollar that they're trying to pay back out to the field, and they can't sustain it. So our company has struck, I think, a really nice balance, and it's really close to half the money goes back out to the field, you know, very close to 50 cents on the dollar. So it doesn't really matter whether you're binary, this, that, or the other thing. You know, if you're only playing with 7 cents on the dollar, who cares what the marketing plan is? To me, that's how my brain works. You know, our stair-step marketing plan is playing with close to 50 cents on the dollar, definitely over 45 cents on the dollar. So that's a very important point. I don't know how that lands for you guys, but it was kind of eye-opening for me. Like, I don't even, it made me kind of stop comparing marketing plans. I'm like, I don't even care. I just want to know, you find out for your company how many cents on the dollar, and I'll tell you if it's too much, your company won't be around. If it's too little, why would you be involved? You want something close to 50 cents on the dollar. Okay, next topic is, I actually want to stop here and see if anybody has any questions. I kind of put it into, anybody have any questions so far? It's all making sense? Okay, I'll just keep going then. Just raise your hand or do something or stop and let me know if you have any questions. Okay, generations versus levels. Here, I'm going to go into explaining this. So let's say that Lindsay sponsored Doug, who sponsored Larry, who sponsored Barb, who sponsored Mitra, who sponsored Manan, who sponsored Naomi, okay? And let's say Lindsay's doing 1,600, Doug's doing 300, and these are personal, like 1,600 with her own orders, her own customers. Doug is doing 300 with his own orders. Larry's doing 250 with his own orders because Doug and Larry are going sailing, okay? Barb, on the other hand, is kicking butt. She's doing 2,000. Mitra's not so big, you know, she's going sailing with Doug and Larry. Manan is just excited and doing 2,000, and so is Naomi, okay? Naomi's doing 2,500. So when the computer goes down, so you can think Lindsay's level 1, Doug is level 2, Larry's level 3, and so on. However, the generations are based on qualified businesses. So what qualifies as a generation? Basically, you have to have 1,000 PVC minimum in your personal and customer orders to count as a generation. So that means Lindsay's generation, well, she's actually not, she's generation 0 for herself. If you're looking at Lindsay's check, then she's actually generation 0. But let's say how much is Lindsay's upline making from that lineage? Generation 1 is Lindsay, generation 2 is Barb, generation 3 is Manan, generation 4 is Naomi. And you still pick up money on Doug and Larry, but you don't, the computer doesn't stop paying you. So it's not like the first 5 people in that particular line of sponsorship where the computer stops. The computer might go down 30, 40, 50 people in order to find 5 legitimate generations. So actually there's a little bit of an error in this slide because if I'm talking about Lindsay's check, Barb is her first generation. So she's still going to make money off of Doug and Larry, but Barb is her first generation. So that's an important, as long as Lindsay has reached the virtual franchisee position and is herself qualified, Barb is her first generation, Manan is her second generation, Naomi is her third generation, and the computer is going to keep searching for more. Now, another point is you can reach down 3 generations when you first get to virtual franchisee, but when you get to QNMD, you start to pick up a 4th generation. So from virtual franchisee, sales coordinator to senior sales coordinator, you can pick up 3 generations. Once you get to QNMD, the computer is going to go down to a 4th generation. And once you get to NMD, as long as you meet all the other qualifications, which is 5 legs that are qualified, for QNMD, you have to have 4 legs that are qualified to get that. And for the other one, you have to have 5 wide, NMD. You have to have 5 wide, and then you can pick up 5 generations. So that, if you really start to think about what this means, I couldn't figure out how to do the graphics, so I just kind of sketched it out. When I talk about this, one little lineage, that's just one leg of Lindsay's, and there's many branches to many legs. So the computer's going, all out through those branches. So if you really start to think about the implications of how deep and wide the computer is searching to pay you, it's a lot of people. It's a lot of people. So it's a very, very lucrative marketing plan. To tell you the truth, I haven't really heard of a more lucrative marketing plan when you really understand the subtleties here. So we'll stop here again and find out if anybody has a question or an aha moment about what this all means as far as generation versus levels. Okay?
Yes, aha.
Aha, right?
I had no idea what a generation or a level was.
Yeah, now you know. Pretty deep, right? Pretty deep stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, and I understand now even more so why the wide makes such a difference.
Yeah, okay, great. So let's keep going here. Back to the slides.
Okay. I have a question, Mitra.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm driving home from work right now, so that's why I have my picture off.
Go ahead.
So when you say like a working leg, so that means, let's say, for Lindsay, for Doug, and everyone below would be considered a working leg. That means one person under Doug is qualified, or Doug is qualified?
Well, as long as it doesn't matter if Doug's not qualified. This is a qualified leg because Barb is qualified.
So someone under Doug is qualified.
Yeah, therefore it's a qualified leg.
Okay.
Working leg could mean a lot of things, but as far as Lindsay, here I've shown her having 5 legs, right? And I'm not going to go into the details of the other legs, but this is a qualified leg because Barb is qualified.
Okay, got it.
Okay, got it? That's a good question. And yeah, so that's what's happening there. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So now we're going to talk about what are the 5 ways we get paid. So first of all, as soon as you sign an application, you get paid retail. Everybody is entitled to retail. So that's really cool. So you can make money right away in our business. And it's, people say, what is the retail? It averages around 20% of the wholesale price of the product. It's on the PVC actually. It averages on the PVC, and the PVC is, for most products, is 75% of the wholesale price. So that's another thing. And that's because the other 25% kind of leaves the company a little cushion to work with. So the marketing plan is based on 75%. And so the retail is on the order of 20% of the wholesale price. But it changes product to product. Wholesale commissions, this is, your 6%, 14%, and 22% is the highest wholesale commission. That's the second way we get paid. Even if you're a senior sales coordinator or above, the wholesale commission does not go above 22%. So we like to get people to sales coordinator because between the 20% retail, you can almost double your check by getting to sales coordinator. So that's something I talk to people about. It's my first goal with you is to get you to sales coordinator. I don't want them to think DD or HLP or VF is their first goal. My first goal with them is to SC, because I want to double your check for selling the same product. So that's something I often when I first start talking about this, I certainly don't go into this kind of presentation with them. I just show them the stair steps to sales coordinator. And so that's those are the commissions. The performance bonus is up to 5% on 5 generations of POB. And I already kind of talked about that. Once you reach VF, you are now qualified to earn 5 performance bonus as long as you have a qualified business with 1,000 personal PVC. And then, as I said, as a QNMD, so you pick up 3 generations of income. And that makes sense because if you're a VF or a SC, you probably aren't that deep anyway, and you'll see an example of that later. But eventually, if by the time you get to NMD and you become a more mature NMD over time, your business is going to get deeper So QNMD, if you have 4 qualified legs, like Tala was asking, that was one leg that we showed was a qualified leg, and you have 4 other legs where somebody in that leg is qualified, then you can pick up 4 generations, and NMD, it goes to 5. As long as there's 5 legs wide that are qualified, then you can pick up 5 generations deep in that 5% override. And this is where that whole Zig Ziglar thing of, would you rather make 100% of your own efforts or 1% of 100 people's efforts? When you're first new to the business, most of your income is your retail and your wholesale commissions. But as your business grows, like my check is mostly, I couldn't even touch my performance bonus and what that adds up to. I could retail all day long. I could go get 100 customers and I still couldn't touch my performance bonus part of the check. So as your business matures, you really want to make sure you're set up to earn all your 5% performance bonus. There is also a POB bonus. I'm not going to get into that right now. But the POB is another 4% bonus on your first generation of sales coordinators. And I will talk about this a little bit later when I show some PVC reports. So, and then the 4th way we get paid is a benefits package with a business incentive bonus, the BIB. And that starts, excuse me, I'm about to sneeze. Maybe not. Woo! Okay. That starts when you are a senior sales coordinator. So when you're a senior sales coordinator, what they do is in the old days that you used to have to show receipts and stuff, you don't have to do that anymore. They just tack on 20% of your this month's check onto next month's check. So let's say my commission check this month was $1,000. 20% of that, of $1,000, is $200. Well, you can earn up to $500 BIB as a senior sales coordinator. So here's a really good place where you don't want to leave money on the table. So let's say you want to maximize, I'm going to bring everybody on, maximize your $500 check. How big does your commission check have to be in order to make $500?
Say that again.
How big does your check have to be, your commission check have to be as a senior sales coordinator so you maximize your $500? So I gave the example, if my check is $1,000, 20% of $1,000 is $200.
$10,000?
5,000.
So you take 500, get your calculators out.
Oh, it's half of that.
And divide it by 0.2%, which is 20%.
Yeah, it's $2,500.
Right, it's $2,500. So, a strong senior sales coordinator is somebody who's earning $2,500 in their commission check and picking up another $500. So you have the opportunity to make $3,000. So, if you're a senior sales coordinator, let's help you make $3,000, $2,500 from your commissions minimum, so you pick up that full $500. That's an important place. So a quick way to do it is, I said 1,000 times 0.2, 20% equals 200, right? So if 200 is on the other side of the equal sign, you take the 0.2, move it under 200, and you'd get the 1,000. So if I want to make 500 and I want to know what this check has to be, I take the 0.2 and divide 500 by 0.2 and I get 2,500, right? Very simple math. Similarly, so now as a QNMD, you can earn $1,000 in BIB. So 20% again. How big should your check be as a Q? So again, you take $1,000 divided by 0.2, and the answer is
$5,000.
$5,000, right? So as an NMD, this was one of my first goals is I wanted to, I don't know if this is important to you, but like, I was like, my check has to be $15,000 as an NMD. That I didn't see myself stopping when I got to NMD because I was like, I haven't maxed out my bib yet. My check has to be $15,000. So I maxed out my bib. That was like a little goal I set for myself. So, you know, people get to NMD and they're like, they're all done. It's like, no, you haven't maxed out your bib yet. You know, I don't know if that's a meaningful goal for anybody, but that's a way to look at it, right? Okay. So
Okay.
I want my team to really start thinking about, I want to max out my check at every position. I don't want to, you know, too many people I think are like scraping their way into these positions instead of maxing out these positions. And the only way to max it out is width, really. Okay. Then during the recession, when everybody else was cutting back, this was, you know, like, I think it's been like 4 or 5 years, Jay Martin came out and he just said, you know what, when everybody else is firing people and we're all feeling the crunch, I'm going to throw more money out to the field. And this 5th way, we used to get paid 4 ways. This team building bonus came out and it stuck. We thought it was going to be a temporary thing. It's a lot of money. But the whole team building bonus of, you know, your HLP bonus, your, you know, VF bonus, your sales coordinator bonus, all these bonuses that they're giving out, this is a 5th way. And they've spent millions of dollars now giving out team building bonuses. Okay, I am going to mute everybody again.
Oh, I have a question.
Okay, go ahead. You might have to unmute because I was, oh, I see you unmuted. Sorry. Go ahead. Was that Charity?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. What was the max out on bib on the NMD?
$3,000.
Okay, I missed that.
Yeah. So therefore, the check is $15,000, and that's not. You know, thanks for bringing that up because that's just me and Doug is an NMD, and he gets to max out his $3,000 too. So our bib alone is $6,000 a month, and that's, by the way, our U.S. business. We also pick up a Canadian bib because they also have the same bib. So when I look at my Canadian volume, and because I'm an NMD, my Canadian check, so to speak, I get a bib on that that's 20% of that check. So Canada definitely is a great country to expand into. A, it's right there, and B, they have the same bib structure. But all the countries have a bib structure. Okay. I'm going back to muting you, Charity. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, great. So team build. So you know, this is like, it's something you should know is that we get paid 5 different ways. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the 645 and the PVC report, and this is where things get really interesting. So 645, what is it? What is the correlation between club level and income? This is the question the company looked at. Like, you know, if you're a 50 club, we would assume most 50 clubs make kind of the same amount of money, right? Well, that's not true at all. They found that if the 50 club person was customer qualified themselves, because you could be qualified with your wholesale buyers, your DDs, right? So that volume goes into your PB qualification. And what they found is the people that were truly qualified with their own customer base made 30, 40, sometimes even 50% more than getting to 50 club, and they weren't duplicating customer qualification. So that's why the company's been harping on customer qualification. And it also keeps us in good standing with the direct sales industry, the DSA, Direct Selling Association, excuse me. So the difference between being highly paid as a 12, even as a 12 club, 24 club, 50 club, 75 club, 100 club, doesn't matter. At every level, they saw this, was the duplication, starting with column 6. So Don Rathman came up with this whole 645 concept, and this is my twist on Don Rathman's teachings about 645. What is 645? So the first question is, are you yourself customer qualified? So I'm going to look at Lindsay's report here. I'm going to minimize this for a second. All right, so now what you see here is column 6. That's the 6 of 645. That's your personal PVC. And for her, it's 1166. And you would think that's really good. But Don Rathman has this concept of, you know, you could be an A+ sales coordinator or a C- sales coordinator. And who doesn't want to be like an A+ sales coordinator? And she says that here are the numbers that for 645, and I'm going to focus on column 6 first, for being an A+. And, you know, 1,000, you would say, you know, Lindsay's over 1,000, she's qualified, that's great, she's got a nice customer base, awesome. Except that it doesn't have enough of a cushion. If she lost a shred order or two and she went on vacation, she might fall out of qualification. So you want to be able to, like, you know, the way I see it, even if you took, let's say life started lifing and, you know, you had to take 2 or 3 months off for whatever reason, you want to make sure you don't have to worry about your check. And a lot of people try to qualify at the end of the month. And I think, you know, a lot of it has stuck that in the beginning, I taught people to be customer qualified, and I want to make sure that heritage continues, because I never worry about the end of the month, to tell you the truth. I mean, other than promotion, I worry about the end of the month as far as getting those promotions done, but I don't worry about qualifying my business. Oh my gosh, you know, that's ridiculous. So a good number for column 6 is 1,600 PVC. You want to shoot for 1,600 PVC for that column 6. And that's really, you know, what we want to duplicate. Now, Teresa really came in with Tower Gardens. And so she was in the room when I was doing this training, and I said to her, you know, this is it's great. I love the fact you're doing all this work with Tower Gardens. But the thing about Tower Gardens is that after a year's time, you know, those things are all paid up. And then you know, you need some Juice Plus customers in order to maintain this 1,600. So she's got some work to do here, because she's not customer qualified, you know. And you see, even in the difference, even though Lindsay's not at 1,600, you see, look at how much excess she has in her PB, which will carry over, and I'll talk about that in a second, whereas Teresa does not have that sort of excess to rely on. So that's all a part of this number being 1,600. So what does that look like? So what that looks like is, oops, shoot. Oh no, what happened? Sorry about that. Did I just? I think I had an extra slide. This slide is, I can't seem to move this thing. But in how many T120 or full shred 10 orders does that take? Well, in the US, if you take the PVC times 15, you need 15 to be over the 1,600 number. 14 is just shy of 1,600. So you could have like maybe another order, but somewhere between 14 and 15 orders, shred orders, is what we want to duplicate. And in Canada, it's higher PVC, so it's 10 orders. So that's something to really note for yourself is, you know, I want 15 shred customers, and 15 is not a huge number to manage if you think about it. It used to be like, you know, 40 capsule orders to get there, and now it's just 15 shred 10 people that you have to take care of. So that's really important for the first step. So we talked about, this is a repeat slide. Okay. Then the next one is 4. So for 6, you want 1,600 for you and your customers. For column 4, you want PB to be 3,200. That's you plus your dealers and your DDs. 3,200 is just double 1,600. And for the other number for column 4 is POB. And this is for sales coordinators and above. You want the number to be 6,400. I know to be POB qualified, you only need 3,000, but it's you plus your dealers, plus your direct distributors, plus your VFs. That's 6,400. So now look at these numbers for Lindsay. So column 4, PBQ and POBQ. PBQ, that's your qualification for your 5%. Oh, now I know why I had that slide. It was the 5 ways we get paid. Just a reminder that in order to pick up your 5%, that number has to be 1,000. But in order to be an A plus, virtual franchisee, you want that number again to be 3,200 and this number to be 6,400. What does that mean? That means that you are doing above and beyond your own customers. You're also bringing in new reps and you're teaching them, you're helping them do some HLPs and whatnot. So it means you're filling your pipeline with more reps that are wanting to do this business. So under Lindsay, by the way, when you look at a PVC report, each leg is, in between each leg is a dotted line. So that one way to look at, what is a leg? A leg is represented by the people within the dotted line. So Melanie is just one person in that leg. But because she's a DD, that 84 is counting towards Lindsay's 2281. So let me just stop here and see if anybody has any questions, because now we're getting like deeper into things.
Can you go back just one slide where it had the column 4 PB, column 4 PO, that one right there, and the VFs 5. You're going to talk about the 5, later? Okay.
Yeah, now I'm talking about the column 4.
VFs. Okay, now go ahead. I just didn't catch the bottom last thing. Okay.
Yeah, no, that's good. So yeah, and the reason I showed this slide again, I was like, why am I showing this again? It's because I want to show you that you want to, make your 5%. Okay. So again, that's a good solid number, 2281 that she has, and that comes from her 1166 in column 6, plus people like Melanie and Pierre, his 178, because he's a DD, that's all being added in that. Making sense, right? Those things are going in there. Teresa's is not counting because she's above she's above a DD, right? Make sense? Okay. And then the POBQ, this is, remember I said I was going to talk about POB. What is the motivation? So let me backtrack just a second. Let's say, just for ease of numbers, that a box of Juice Plus is 100 PVC, just to round it off. It's actually really close to 100. I think it's like 102 or something. But let's just say it's an even 100. And remember, I said that maximum wholesale commission is 22%, right? So $22 of that $100 is going to go back out to the field one way or the other. If you're a sales coordinator and you sold that box, you're going to collect your retail and that $22. If I recruit Cindy and Cindy gets to VF and she gets a customer, of that $100, she's at 14%, she gets $14. There's $8 left over that rolls up to me. Make sense? Because the company's going to give out 22 one way, and you'll get a percentage of it depending on where you are. Okay, everybody get that? It's an important thing to understand. How, somebody's going to get a chunk of that $22 depending on where they are. So what is my motivation to promote Cindy to sales coordinator when I make an extra $8 if she stays a VF?
I've never heard that explained like that, and now I understand it.
Right? That's why I wanted to do this training. It's like, I don't want anybody to be intimidated by this stuff. It's not that hard. It's just, you just have to understand it.
I don't know why you would want to promote her, because when I look at the POB, that's also from your dealers and DDs and VFs. So,
right. And this is where, this is actually what we struggle with when we bring somebody in, not because they're trying to understand it at this level of detail, but because most people are used to, I want to do something, I do it by myself, I don't need team, I'll do it by myself, I'll go out there and I'll do it, and I'll make the money, I'll make 100%. And what did I say? Zig Ziglar, do you want to make the mentality of make 100% of your own efforts or 1% of 100 people's efforts. What happens when Cindy gets to sales coordinator? What does she have that she didn't have when she first started?
22% commission.
A qualified leg. Or what does she have? You have a,
She-
I mean,
she
not a
has
qualified, but
team.
you have a leg.
She has team. She has 2
Team,
VFs
yeah.
and a DD. There's no way Cindy can outperform 2 working VFs and a DD.
Got it.
So I want her to get to sales coordinator because she has team that way. And I'd rather make 5% on her team than 22% on her, because I know her team, her growing team will outperform her.
Right, that makes sense.
Okay? But right away, because I'm teaching her how to get to sales coordinator, the company will kick back an additional 4% on your first generation of sales coordinators, not the second generation, because if Cindy gets a sales coordinator, chances are Cindy did most of the work to get there, so she'll pick up the 4% on them, and I'll pick up the 4% on my front generation of people
Just a
up
second,
to
baby.
the first sales coordinator. Make sense? Did you catch that? So
Charity, can you mute
love
yours,
my-
Charity?
What?
Yeah, I was,
Okay.
I will. I was just gonna ask a question though.
Oh, go ahead.
I kind of got lost in the end because I got interrupted by my hungry daughter wants more dinner. So I'll go in the other room. So I know she's got the TV on. So just the last thing that you said,
Mhm.
I kind of got lost. So
Okay, so let me go back and repeat. I promote Cindy to sales coordinator. I give up my 8%, but I pick
Right.
up a 4. I pick up. She's got a bigger team. She's got motivation. I want to build a team because 5% of her team is going to outperform, what Cindy does by herself. Number one. Number two, I pick up 4% on her team, her VFs.
So that's where the POB bonus is.
Mm-hmm. But I have to have a 3,000 POB. And if you think about it, if you get to VF, and it's very simple, if you get to VF and you're qualified, you have 1,000 PVC. Then you need 2 VFs and a DD to get to sales coordinator. If those 2 VFs, after they get to VF, if you teach them to qualify their business, their 1,000 and the 2,000 there and your 1,000 puts you into 3,000 POB.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that hard. 3,000 is not a lot if you think about the teamwork involved, right? However,
Yeah, well, I did it the hard way. I did it mostly, which is, and I'm like, why didn't my check go up?
Yeah.
I raised my PVC by almost 700 some points, and
how did
it went
you
up
do
$40. It went up $40. I'm like,
yeah.
how's that?
Did you do it with width and team is really the question, right?
No, I did it with me and basically one person that's doing anything.
So this scraping by stuff has got to stop. We got to go out and find some decent recruits.
Mm-hmm.
And how you know you have decent recruits is your POB is 6,400. You're not scraping by at 3,000 you can do 3,000 by yourself, really, if you're good.
Yeah, well, I have been.
But you want 6,400 because now you're talking about numbers that indicate you have new blood.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
Okay.
Thank you.
Now,
Thank you for going over that.
Yeah, sure. Tala, you had a question?
No. It was good. I was just getting distracted also by the noise of. Yeah. So that's what I was like, yeah. Okay. I'm good. I got it.
You guys are totally caught up this part?
Yep.
Okay. Because it's going to get deeper.
Is there a quiz at the end?
Yeah, right. But there is a recording at the end for you to review.
Good.
Okay. So at the end of the day, all you have to walk away with is 1,600, 3,200, 6,400 for your 645. Or 5 is 5 I'll get to in a second. So now, so again, those numbers, the 4 PB column is 3,200. That's you plus your dealers and your DDs. This is what you wanted to see, Tala. And the 4 POB column is, I left out the Q, but it's the Q stands for qualification. 3,000 is scraping by. It's kind of a C- qualification. An A+ qualification on POB is 6,400 from you and your dealers and your DDs and your VFs. That, can you see how that represents new blood? Right? Okay.
Yes.
So in the instance of Lindsay, who we're looking at right now, I see she's got 3,311 for her POB. Where did that come from? Because I see Teresa's a senior sales coordinator.
I wanted to blow it up. You'll get a glance at a larger part of her PVC. This is just a chunk of her PVC report. You're not seeing the whole thing.
Oh, okay.
You're not seeing the whole thing at all.
Okay.
I just wanted to, in order to be able to see the numbers, I had to blow up.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, no worries.
And it happened to have Teresa, who serves as a good example, so that's why I'm using this report.
Okay.
So now the other thing I want to talk about is my twist on this, which is can you guys see the oscillation between 6,400 and 12,000 at the bottom of the slide?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, good. What does that mean? So when I look at somebody and their POB is like 10,000 and then I know I've got a future NMD on my hand. Let me show you what I mean. So go to the next slide. So this is Lindsay's 12-month report. Now I've bolded out the POB line, right, for over 12 months. So look at what happens here. Look at that jump. Now, I want to see an oscillation. I don't want to see it stuck at 6,400. I want to see it go up from 6,400 closer to 10 and 12,000, which it did for her in May, 94.53. Then it drops to 50.56. Then there's another oscillation. 66 down to 40. She built it back up between June and July from 5,000 to 6,600, but then it dropped again. Then it went up again over time to 86.55, and then it dropped to 40.95. What does that mean? Why do I like that oscillation so much?
She's promoting sales coordinators.
Bingo! So that oscillation means look at that, boom, boom, boom. Those are the sales coordinators on the next page.
That's what I want, that oscillation.
Right? I want to see some oscillation, folks, from 6,400 to 10, 12,000, because you're like.
So you guys, this is like dancing, man. Oscillation, we're good at it. We should be able to watch this thing.
Let's see some oscillation going on. Because if it stays, that means you're not building frontline sales. You're not promoting them. You're kind of like, hey, you're not getting the drift here of what you're up to, okay? And then the next column is column 5, and that's your excess. And that just simply means that anything over 3,000 goes into kind of a bank for a month. And you want to just hold that steady at 1,000 and 3,000 because, again, if you go on vacation or some calamity happens in your life, the company will let you qualify with your excess POB and PB from last month. And you can see how Teresa has not built up that bank. Her PB is only 258, and she's got no POB because she's built her business almost strictly on Tower Gardens. A huge business. She's built. I mean, she's just like, there's a senior sales coordinator, and we'll talk about Teresa a little bit later. But Lindsay's built up her bank, and Teresa has not built up her bank. Okay?
So can I ask a question on the bank? Is that to stay until you need it?
Yeah, it's just there so you can go on vacation and not worry about it.
Okay, so it doesn't disappear the next month.
No, it dwindles down. So let's say this next month, because Lindsay's over 1,000 in these numbers in March, that means she's guaranteed to have the same, next month. But let's say this 2281 starts to dwindle down, then they'll just start taking numbers over until this runs out. And then you won't be in qualification anymore.
And that must be happening
Okay.
for Teresa then, right?
Yes. Teresa cannot go on vacation.
So is 1,000 and 3,000 the max of each of those?
Yeah. That's just the most they'll let you accrue in that bank. Okay. Alrighty. Oh, So those numbers just stay. That you can't do anything about that. So now 12-month report. We looked at the 12-month report a little bit, but I want to look at some other interesting features about the 12-month report. So Lindsay's building her organization. So the first thing is this PB1, PB2, PB3, PB4. Those are the 5 generations I was talking about. Now look at her numbers. PB4, PB4 in the beginning. Why is it 0 here when she hit NMD? I believe she hit NMD. Oh no, she didn't hit NMD till here. She might not have hit QNMD. I don't even know when she hit QNMD. But 2 things might have happened. One is that her organization just wasn't that deep. There was nothing there. It just hadn't duplicated that deep. That's number 1. Number 2, she wasn't an NMD yet, so she wasn't qualified to do that. So, there's a lot more to do after you reach NMD. So she hit NMD this month in her pay line where she hit that 40,000. You see that number, 40,000, when you look across the pay line? That month, by the way, she hit 40,000 with 7 PB wide and 3 POB wide. I was like so impressed with this. And then they kind of like dwindled down, but not that, it was still very respectable volume. Sometimes people make a huge dive, which I don't like to see. But PB5, she's not picking up PB5, and she said maybe it's not that deep. Well, obviously it's not that deep because she does have 5 PB legs. So that just means that, that her organization, so now what there is to do is duplication and see her keep building width, but now really start paying more attention to duplication, because this should really look like a Christmas tree. It now looks like a diamond. PB1 is actually kind of high because she's building frontline width, but a lot of people, their PB1 is like, like 1,000, and then it's like double or something like that. So it starts to go wide because ideally, when we do the numbers 5, the next level is 25, next level is 125, next level is 625, next level is 1,025. That's a Christmas tree, right? This is a diamond because the number starts going down from 6320 here. Like these months, they're going back down, So her highest, her width is at PB3. Do you understand what I'm saying? It gets widest. The numbers get widest at PB3. So you don't want a diamond. Does that part make sense for people? You want a Christmas tree, because this is what, this is power of duplication.
I don't understand the PB3 being her.
She just hasn't duplicated. Her organization is not matured.
So 3 levels down, they aren't getting qualified people under them. Is that what that means?
Yeah, the 3rd generation. I mean, it's a newer organization. So now her work is to build a Christmas tree.
Okay, teach all of them to go find 3 or 5 more and teach them and teach them. Okay.
Yeah, one way to find out. Like I tell people, if you teach your 1st generation, if you oversee your 1st generation teaching your 2nd generation, that you don't teach your 2nd generation, you involve your 1st generation in teaching their 2nd generation and teach them to duplicate that model, then you will see a Christmas tree. When I hit NMD, Elton taught me this whole Christmas tree concept, and he told me to go out and make sure I was like 12 PB wide, because I told him my income goals. I told him I wanted that $15,000 check, and he said, build a Christmas tree, go at least, 10 to 12 PB wide, go at least, 7 or 8 POB wide, and you'll have your $15,000 check. And that's exactly what I did. Okay, so this is an example more of a Christmas tree. Get it? The numbers are getting bigger at every generation. So this is from a larger organization. Okay. So that's that one. Okay. The second thing is, I already pointed out, she was really building width with 7 PB wide. And I said, well, you better go back to that 7 and keep growing from there. So that's one of the things I was telling her. And then the third thing, that green arrow on the left, is leg balance. This is something they warned us at the NMD meeting they're going to bring in by 2018, is that you can't just, whether it's NMD, whether it's club levels, like 12 club, 24 club, 50 club, you can't have it be one-legged. You have to have a balance between your legs. So her leg, so between the 3 top legs, one leg is doing 22%, the other leg is doing 16, the other leg is doing 16. So it's not like no more than, 50, no more than 40% of her business is really coming over the 12 months on average from one leg. So I think, most people can build 3 really strong legs. Okay. Does that make sense? Let me show you what I mean. This is the overview of Lindsay's business, right? Look at that, look at this, and each leg, remember, is in between the dotted lines, right? What is the difference between Lindsay's overall PVC report? This is the larger picture, Tala, that you were wondering about, like what does it all really look like? This is a brand new NMD organization. Look at the leg. What do you see visually that's different between Lindsay and Teresa?
Teresa's just
has one leg.
person getting the
One-legged,
majority.
right? It's so clear.
Mm-hmm.
These visuals, when you look at people's PVC, it's so clear. She's one-legged. Look at that. Okay? You want your PVC report to look more like Lindsay's than Teresa's. And Teresa gave me permission to have this conversation with you all. I was like, she's so brave. She's so teachable. She's so coachable. It's amazing. She's just like, oh my gosh, I get it, Because what did she do? She, look at this leg. She got a senior sales coordinator. She's got a senior sales coordinator. Underneath her is a senior sales coordinator. And underneath her is another sales coordinator that's building a lot of depth. Okay? So, again, oh yeah, this is what I was, look at this. I got ahead of myself. So that it's just like this, and she, even under her is this one strong leg. Michelle also might end up with sort of a, Michelle, let's see, this is Jackie's level 2, yeah, and then under her is another go-getter, Rachel, who's level 3. So even Michelle has to make sure that doesn't end up being one-legged. Okay. So bottom line is go wide, qualify, get an A+ on your 645 columns, and don't leave any money on the table. All right?
That was awesome.
Yeah?
I'm going to go take a shower and watch it again.
Okay. I'm going to stop the recording. So I'm going to stop the share. Stop the recording. Are there any questions before I stop the recording?
No, I think that was really good.
Okay.
That was very helpful. It, like all your presentations, I wish I had more people in the room. So I'm looking forward to sharing this with some of the other people that need to hear it.
Yeah, and one of the things, let me just stop the recording.